Hey guys, welcome back to the AJ Analysis channel, where today we are back with the content and back with a 3-2 Manchester United win over Aston Villa. In my opinion, was actually a really good performance. Now, I actually didn't get to watch the game live because I was busy with friends and family. I saw the last 20 minutes or so. However, I rewatched the game this morning, and trust me when I say this performance, the overall performance, was a lot better than what you think. I've seen a lot of people covering this game online, and I think a lot of them were watching the game with emotion, because of course they were watching the game live. So they were very critical of the first half performance in particular. I was someone who, like I said, got to watch the game without emotion attached, because I already knew the score. So when I watched the game this morning, I knew that we were going to win. And taking emotion out of the equation, it allowed me to look at the game from a more tactical point of view than what a lot of other people have. This was a pretty good performance from Manchester United. Yes, it had flaws, which Erik ten Hag went on to correct later on in the game. But overall, I genuinely think this was a good performance, and we saw some interesting little tactical tweaks, starting off with the goal kicks. Now, the goal kick seems like a pretty simple thing, right? People, at times, brush over this. There was an important change from the goal kick. So what we normally see from United is two centre-backs split either side of the goalkeeper like this, giving us this base of three players to play out from the back. We didn't see that in this game. Instead, what we saw was Varane would drop here, but rather than Onana being in this middle position, he would push to the left-hand side, and Jonny Evans would move out wide, almost into a left-back position. Eriksen would push further forward, Diogo Dalot would move into midfield, and then Kobbie Mainoo would drop as well. So we actually created a 4-2 shape, or a 2-4 shape, using the goalkeeper and one of the centre-backs as the base two. And this is something which the elite sides do. Manchester City do this with Edison, and it's something which I wanted us to do from the second we got linked with Onana. This is a big step in the right direction for United's build-out structure, because it still allows us to hold width in the first phase with Evans and Wan-Bissaka. We've still got two central presences in Kobbie Mainoo and Diogo Dalot, who are both press-resistant in central areas, and we've also got Onana and Raphael Varane, who have a pretty simple passing job, meaning that almost no matter how many players Aston Villa bomb forward on this press, they're going to be outnumbered, because Manchester United have 6 players, all with plenty of passing triangles around the pitch, allowing United to play the ball out from the back quite nicely. This is a big bonus. This is definitely something which Ten Hag should do more. So this is a good start when watching the game back. This is a very good thing. What was also a good thing was the structure we used a little bit higher up the pitch, and again it came from Diogo Dalot moving position.
So before we continue into the video, a quick shout out to today's video sponsor, JerseyFifa.com, the home of all of the greatest football kits. Whether that be the new latest releases or the old classic ones like this, Jersey FIFA has something for everyone, and now you can check it out yourself using the link in the description down below. And also make sure to use code JerseyFifa for 10% off when you order.
Now once again, the reason that Dalot's positioning was important was because he was moving in midfield alongside Kobbie Mainoo. Like we saw he was from the goal kicks, he continued to do this throughout the game. Why is this important? Well, basically, because it means that Kobbie Mainoo is not isolated with a whole midfield cover all by himself, unlike the game against West Ham the other day. With Diogo Dalot inverting, it gives you a second player in the second phase ready to receive the ball. So if we say this is the first phase, as the ball gets moved into the second phase, we now have 2 players rather than 1. When we have 1, what is the problem? Let's say Kobbie Mainoo passes to Wan-Bissaka, gets the ball back, passes at this side to Jonny Evans. He's then got to cover all of this ground to make himself available again, meaning the ball gets played much slower because Evans has to wait for Mainoo to get across. However, the second that we push Dalot into this position as well, the ball can be moved much quicker because the players are much closer together. The spacing is so much better in this system. So this is another really good thing which Erik ten Hag done in this game. Diogo Dalot inverting alongside Kobbie Mainoo. This is brilliant. This is what we want to see. Aston Villa, often setting up in a sort of 4-4-2 shape defensively, were therefore trying to use John McGinn and Ollie Watkins to block Diogo Dalot and Kobbie Mainoo from getting the ball, with Leon Bailey and Ramsey helping the wide areas. So what did United do from here to play the ball forward? They dropped Christian Eriksen outside of Aston Villa's pressing structure. So now this can borderline become, as Wan-Bissaka steps forward, a 2-4 shape. Another structure which we've been asking for on a regular basis. This is something which Erik ten Hag should do more. United done it again well in this game. And when we consider that Aston Villa are a side who play a super high line, I mean an unbelievably high line, they're incredibly good at catching teams offside. We saw it in this game. But what this means is that as Christian Eriksen moves into this sort of space here, Christian Eriksen with time and space against a high line, that's what you want. because he can now suddenly play these balls over the top for Rasmus Højlund, for Garnacho, for Marcus Rashford. There's now a lot of attacking threats. We also had Bruno Fernandes in a high central position, meaning that he's not dropping deep in these areas, he's getting the ball in this space here, looking to turn and once again play through balls. Attempted more through balls than any other Premier League player in this game in 2023. So that's a sign of the sort of football that United were playing. Quick, direct passing football, moving the ball forward. I thought Marcus Rashford on the left-hand side made some absolutely brilliant runs in behind this Aston Villa defence. I thought he was quality. A lot of the time he didn't receive the ball, and I would like to see better body language when that happens, rather than throwing his arms up in the air. Just get yourself back into position. But overall, I thought Rashford played really well. His decision of when to run, when to dribble with the ball, when to pass the ball was absolutely brilliant. I thought it was quality. And the same for Garnacho on the other side. So in possession, in the first half, it was really good for Manchester United. However, they found themselves 2-0 down. And that is because they didn't have control of the game. Now that might not make sense initially, because I'm saying United were really good on the ball. So how did they not have control? Well, United didn't have control in the first half because the pressing structure was poor, which relinquishes control. So, Aston Villa are setting up to play the ball out from the back. And United have that same old issue, which we've seen a lot under Erik ten Hag. That is that Højlund is going to force the play one way. Like this. Say across to Carlos. Højlund's now going to force the ball across. Rashford is therefore going to come up onto Konsa. Let's put Dalot back at left back, like so. And United are going to go largely man for man in midfield initially. Which is fine when you're pressing high up the pitch. That is absolutely fine. So United are man for man here. And you're going to force the ball one way. Rashford's a little bit passive. As the ball goes here, like this, Garnacho's role from the far side is to come across like this onto Longley and force Villa to play one way. But because United are a little bit passive when they do this, they just leave that spare man on the other side free literally all game long. This was the problem in the first half. Aston Villa were able to do this far too easily. Once Aston Villa have done this, Digne can carry the ball forward. Ramsey's going to move inside as he does so very well. Wan-Bissaka is now in a 1v2 situation, which is a difficult situation for any player in the world to deal with. Aston Villa take full advantage of that. Players get forward. You push into the final third. When that happens, you see corners, you see things like that. You see free kicks, chances. And Aston Villa were very good from those set pieces. United were absolutely terrible. But for me, this was the only big issue that United had in the first half. Was the set piece defending, but the pressing structure wasn't right. In possession, United were set up to control the game very well. But because they couldn't win the ball back, they couldn't get that control. However, let's go over to Erik ten Hag and take a quick look at him. Erik ten Hag makes the change at half time, and this is a key change. What does he do? He connects one of his fullbacks to the press. He connects Aaron Wan-Bissaka to the press. So basically, next time that this is going to happen, so Martinez has the ball, passes to Carlos, Højlund comes across, Garnacho comes across like this, and the ball goes to Konsa. Konsa looks up and looks to play this ball to Digne. However, this time, he can't. Because as the ball goes, this time Wan-Bissaka is there. Meaning that this pass is no longer available. Now suddenly, if we now match it up over the rest of the pitch, Varane is on Ramsey. Johnny Evans locked down Ollie Watkins all game. I don't really remember seeing Watkins in this game. Kobbie Mainoo done incredibly well on John McGinn. And we're man for man in midfield. So now when Aston Villa look to play the ball out from the back, there is no player that they can go to, and that was because Erik ten Hag connected the fullback to the press in the second half, which is something which I think we need to do more, because suddenly the effect of this is that United win a ball back, and therefore, in their better possession structure, are able to control the ball. Now, I want to give a special shout out to Kobbie Mainoo's defensive work in this game. I've spoken a lot about what I like from him on the ball. He was brilliant in the second half, because Aston Villa was sending the ball long. Because United pressed well, and Villa couldn't play out from the back, Villa went a bit more direct. Kobbie Mainoo won so many headers in these areas just to knock the ball back or get the ball down and play and keep it simple. And this was the benefit of having Kobbie Mainoo, Christian Eriksen and Bruno Fernandes in midfield. Three technical footballers. Three footballers who can take the ball in a little bit of a tight situation and still get the pass off. Good passing footballers in the centre of the park was key to United in this second half in particular. Now, so what's the story? Why has the game changed? Well, United are winning the ball back higher. When you win the ball back higher, your possession stats instantly increase, because you're winning the ball back better. Add to that the fact that United were better on the ball in this game than what they normally are. So let's say we win the ball back in this area. Kobbie Mainoo gets his foot on the ball, having that really good understanding of temperament, not forcing the ball forward too quickly. He takes his time on the ball. This allows United to get back into their possession shape. And from here, United can now go play football. And again, with Bruno Fernandes, Christian Eriksen, Marcus Rashford, but also Garnacho, Highline, you've got threats all over the pitch there. Players who can do serious damage. Aston Villa are still holding this pretty high line and trying to make it difficult for United, frustrating United by catching them offside. However, when you've got two key principles here, Bruno Fernandes in the 10 and Marcus Rashford on the left wing running in behind, you have something which no other team in world football has. Two of the best transitioning threats in world football. And this was a good thing. Game state suited United because Aston Villa were holding that high line but letting United have the ball. When you do that, you're almost making micro transitions in the game. Bruno Fernandes to Marcus Rashford. They're telepathic. Bruno doesn't even look at Rashford in these situations. Rashford barely even looks at Bruno. He just sees the timing of the pass, knows when to go, knows when to time his run. They've done it hundreds of times in the past. We've seen it time and time again. And that gets United on the front foot in this game. And that was the big thing for me in the second half. There was a buzz around the stadium in the second half, much different to the first half. But there was an intensity from the players. There was this keenness to get the ball forward, but not in a rushed way where we're just playing long ball football. Bruno, Eriksen, Kobbie Mainoo, Dalot were still being technical on the ball, still keeping the ball when they needed to, timing their forward movements. Garnacho, I thought, was absolutely brilliant on the right wing. And at this stage in his career, it actually looked like the right wing suited him a bit more. Being right-footed on the right-hand side, it almost simplified his game a little bit. I thought Wan-Bissaka done well at times in supporting him, getting into forward areas. I just genuinely think that for most of the game, this was good for Manchester United. Second half in particular, tactically, it was very, very good. It was very, very good with that kind of the tweak to the press, allowing United to press much higher in the second half. The good possession shape. This was a good day for United. Now, of course, at the same time, it wasn't perfect because if you look at this starting 11, it doesn't scream Champions League quality and title challenges, right? There's still problems in terms of personnel in the team. There's still at times structural problems because whilst this shape was evident for large parts of the game, there are situations where it goes missing a little bit, where Dalot gets caught a little bit wider and Kobbie Mainoo's a little bit higher, and United struggled to find their shape. So of course it weren't perfect. Defensively, set pieces, it was horrendous. The defending of set pieces was absolutely awful. Although outside of that, I thought Varane and Evans were brilliant defensively. Overall, despite conceding 2 goals and needing a miraculous comeback late in the game, I actually think this was a good game for United, and I'm sitting here very, very pleased. Like I said, I was able to watch the game without emotion, and it made me watch the game in a very different way to what most other people have covered it. And can we also just quickly talk about Rasmus Højlund? Of course, Garnacho, a brilliant play for 2 goals. I questioned his form recently, his end product. He shut me up in this game. Fair play to him. Absolutely brilliant from the right-hand side. But Rasmus Højlund. People are obviously very, very excited that he finally got his first goal, and it's a last-minute winner. But let's actually talk about the quality of the finish. What a goal from Rasmus Højlund. What a day for Manchester United, and what an important result. You can question a lot of things about this team. What you cannot question, though, is the fact that these players are playing for their manager. And if Erik ten Hag sets up tactically how he did in the second half, he has a lot here to work with. There's still work to do, but there is a foundation there if he wants to build on it. It's up to him. Let's see what happens in the future, though, because for today we are finished. So thank you guys for watching. I hope you have enjoyed it. And as always, I'll see you in the next one.